System Shock is a fun little game in space where you need to stop a rogue AI from destroying all of humanity.
I am You are not welcomed here. I will smite you into oblivion. You will never succeed in my domain. You vile little parasite. How dare you strike a god? Your impudence will be your end.
Turn around! Now!
Let's try that again. System Shock is a Metroidvania-type game set in the year of 2072, and it is both incredibly good for its age, as well as insanely infuriating for its age. And I'm going to explain both, but first, thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers, and all the comments and support has been great, and I hope to keep improving my content to keep entertaining everybody to the best of my ability. And I made a deal that at 500 subs, I would do a 24-hour stream. I mean, I didn't think that I would pass 500 so quickly, and hey, I'm a man of my word. So June 9th, I will be doing a 24-hour stream. So stop by the stream if you aren't busy. It should be fun time for everybody involved. And again, thank you everyone for your support, and I hope one day you get to say, you know, I watched this guy when he only had 1,000 subscribers. Anyway, back to the video. I have never felt so mixed on my feelings for a video game before. Let me start with saying the story, so that those who don't really know this game or have never heard of it get a better understanding of it. You play as the hacker, who is a nerd that lives in the most amazing city in America, Atlanta, having been caught downloading schematics for a military-grade implant by the very company you stole them from, so you're not good at your job, apparently. And then they kidnap you, and they bring you to a man named Edward Diego, who has you remove all the ethical restraints from an AI named Shodan. In return, he gives you the implant and the proper surgery for it. Though due to the surgery, you were put in a 6-month recovery coma, and when you awake, everything has gone to hell. Like, yeah, no shit, really. Removing the ethical restraints on an AI led to it killing people and becoming a god. I mean, I never would have guessed that. As you may guess, though, the game progresses as anyone would expect. You need to stop the AI from her plan to kill or assimilate all of humanity and escape from the Citadel, which is a space station that you find out you're on, which is located in the orbit of Saturn. And that's your spoiler-free rundown of the main story of System Shock. Now that everyone is on the same page, the remaster looks phenomenal. I mean, like, look at this, and then look at this. That's the same area, believe it or not. The original game was created in 1994. That was when I was negative 8 years old. So the game has had a huge glow up and is much easier on the eyes now. And I mean, especially the cyberspace sections. Now, I am afraid I cannot compare anything else from the original to the remake since I never played the original. Though what I can say is that the movement and combat in the remake feels very nice, especially after you get the movement boots. It almost feels more Doom-like with how fast you're moving around in combat and you're gliding and hopping around. And then speaking of combat, like, the guns are all pretty simple but cool. You got the rail gun and the laser gun. Oh, except for the electric saber. That thing is actually just sick. That thing's awesome. Depending on your difficulty, combat can be incredibly difficult or baby's first game easy. And I mean this when I say this, guys. Do not trust the difficulty level picker at the beginning of the game. 3 isn't just hard mode. I'm pretty sure that our government uses it and forces prisoners to play this difficulty as interrogation torture. 2 isn't medium. That's hard mode. And then 1, that's designed for IGN game reviewers who lack opposable thumbs and have a hole forming in their frontal cortex. The disparity in each level of difficulty is insane. Story-wise, the game's like fine or okay. It's not bad, but it's just not like the best either. It's a typical AI believes it's a god and then needs to be stopped, which at the time of the 90s was a very big topic. I mean, you had movies like The Matrix, Terminator 2, as well as the far more famous Disney movie, Smart House. Please, if you've seen this movie, comment below. I need to know I'm not alone. So it makes sense that it gained a cult following at the time. All the other little bits of like world building and story development is all in the form of audio logs that you find hidden around the place, laying on the ground. And they're all interesting, but they don't add too much to the main overarching story. It's just another one of those moral stories of humanity's own hubris and greed led to its ultimate demise and downfall type stories. Which, again, I want to iterate, does not make the story bad. The story's fine. It's just not super duper interesting to me, is pretty much it. But it probably is interesting to people who love AI control and taking over and everything. Speaking of AI control, and the reason I even played this game in the first place, the villain, Shodan. I see this name near the top of every top video game villain list. I've looked at so many now, and I can finally say, I don't get why. The idea is that Shodan is supposed to be one step ahead of you at every single point of the game. Aha! Shodan, I have prevented you from firing your laser at Earth.
Joke's on you, hacker. I have been developing a virus that will mutate all living creatures on Earth.
Well, sorry to disappoint you, Shodan, but I just jettisoned it into space, so once again, I have foiled you.
No, hacker. I am sorry to disappoint you, because I have already started sending my data to Earth. Toodaloo.
Well, I just destroyed the antennas used to upload yourself to Earth.
Well, I will just repair them.
Fuck you.
Eat shit.
But it never really felt like she was outsmarting you, more like you would foil her, and then she just moves on to the next thing that she can do. It wasn't really like she was getting ahead. She also sets traps for you every so often, where like a bunch of enemies will jump out of a wall, and she'll be like, welcome to my death room. Every villain ever has done that. But to be fair, this game was in the 90s, you know, so it kind of set status quo. Can't hold it against it. But what I will say at the end of the day is that due to her voice and her unique design, she by far stands out compared to most video game villains, as well as with being a decent threat to the player, even if the final battle isn't that good in my opinion. But she definitely deserves like top 15, but I don't know if I could put her in top 10. But you guys let me know what you think about her in the comments. The last like good thing that I want to talk about is the best, which for every single game that I have played recently has always slapped, and that's the soundtrack. The game is set up so each floor of the station has a unique exploration slash like idle backtrack and then a combat track, which blends together perfectly going in and out of combat. And it is honestly the best part of the game for me. So Night Dive Studios, fantastic job on this soundtrack. This is what helped me get through all of the annoying stuff. Now on to said annoying stuff. I'm going to keep the annoying stuff portion short because at the end of the day, it's a game from the 90s with a fresh coat of paint. It's going to have some dated gameplay, and I also just simply have personal preferences. Firstly, yes, I understand it is semi like Metroidvania in the sense that you don't really have any given directions and you need to figure it out yourself. But the fact that you need to pick up every single audio log just in case it tells you something that you might need to know in order to progress or know which direction to go drove me crazy. Not to mention, if you pick it up earlier and then get stuck at a part that you'll need to go through your audio logs again and see if you already have it or if you missed it. And I tried to not use a guide for this game for as long as possible. I got a little past like halfway, and then it became so annoying for me that I couldn't take it anymore. And I started to read a walkthrough, and thank God that I did, because I must have missed the log that told me to look at the screen at every CPU room associated with each level and write down the number for a randomized code you need towards the end of the game, which I still had to backtrack through several levels for. Basically, my main issue is the over-reliance on audio logs for figuring out how to progress, as well as some of them forcefully halting your progress, because they will tell you a randomized code that you need for a door somewhere. And you don't even know what door that is until you get there. And if you even heard it in the dialogue while you've got it playing and you're fighting enemies, either give me no dialogue and I can take my time going around figuring it out, or straight up just tell me what to do, because I don't want the first thought to hit me when I get stuck is, did I miss an audio log somewhere? And finally, for those who have made it this far in the video, you get to hear the secret. I didn't even finish the game. Now hear me out before you say, how can you have an opinion on something if you didn't beat it? I was on the very, very last stage, in the bridge, going around clearing all of it out, and it took me a while since I was low on medical supplies and ammo. I had like one med kit. That was like all I had. And I finally get to this one part where I solve a puzzle, and then 50 suicide drones spawn in. The issue, I made a quick save after solving the puzzle. So after dying, I respawn with negative 10 frames while I'm loading everything in, and then I get blown up. Inventory doesn't freeze time in the game, so I can't swap weapons, and one of my guns isn't loaded, and it was literally impossible for me to progress. And the last hard save I had was at the very beginning of the mission, which was a little over like an hour and close to an hour and a half. And so I just quit. I just quit the game. To be completely honest, just terrible luck on my end. Like if I didn't have that quick save after that puzzle, I could have been prepared for the suicide bomb. So, you know, that's just an annoying grievance that happened to me. All in all, System Shock deserves its status as a classic in my opinion, and that's even after all the annoying stuff I dealt with. If you like difficult games compared to today's standards and don't mind using a walkthrough, give this game a try. For me, it's a 7 out of 10, like a one play then never again. And hey, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for watching. See you around.